All right, it's Wednesday, April 17th. This is an end of the day SPY recap. And today, third day of the week, we end up with a 2-down red bar that took out the low of the previous day. It closed near the lows. It's now the fourth red day in a row to the downside. And, in terms of the bigger picture, number one, the weekly chart is now, 3 days in a row, 3 weeks in a row to the downside. So like I've been saying for a while now, until that weekly chart reverses in some way, something like this, a red bar, a green going up, or some, anything that eventually reverses up, I can't get comfortable to the long side. Pivot machine gun here on the weekly chart. Who knows if it can go week after week after week to the downside. That said, we are on the monthly chart now into the gap that was discussed for, or I've been discussing. That's kind of the high of this bar, which is like the 490 area and the low of that bar. So we're into this gap. This could be an area where you're just, holding, and eventually the next month might start up. I mean, sometimes you just on these uptrends, you get kind of a 1 month red pullback, and then the next month you open and start green and the uptrend continues. So sometimes a 1 month pause or a 1 month pullback is not a problem in an uptrend. And we'll see if this, we'll have to see, we still have time to go if this, continues further down. If it continues further down next month, I would expect some of these targets to be hit. For now, it's just a 1 month pause. So, and we're in an area where it might hold. But, until I see that weekly chart turn up, then I'm not predicting that in any way, shape, or form. And this is going to be the key thing to me, whether or not we start up again. If this chart could start to, fail in some way and then start higher. So we'll look for that. You're at short-term exhaustion risk here. So now I think you have to start playing a what-if game in terms of how the week is going to end. We have 2 days to go in the week. So, it's a question of if we somehow get a start above the midpoint of this bar and break and get a 2 up day tomorrow and some strong green bar, maybe this starts to form the look of a hammer bar. If we don't get that, then the closer you get to Friday, the more this is going to close red and the more you're going to expect lower into next week. So that's going to kind of be what I'm looking for, for the last 2 days of the week. And the only way you even start up on the very short time frame is to start above the midpoint of this bar and start higher tomorrow. So we'll see where that pre-market range is. If you don't, then, we might just be consolidating again because we're at a little exhaustion risk to the downside. I don't know how much momentum you're going to get. But if we start somewhere in the middle and can't start higher, I would expect the low of this day to be tested still, even if we don't get strong follow through. Maybe it takes it out and then comes back through the midpoint and you get a little short-term reversal. But we're going to have to see how the last 2 days of the week unfold relative to how this weekly bar seems to be forming. That'll provide expectations into next week. Finally, for today, it was very clear what to do. The opening price bar was red. Second bar then continued and broke that low there. I bought some puts. I talked about it, and it was an excellent morning trade. Only one green bar along the way and nothing that made a higher high. Went down all the way to targets and beyond. I discussed for a while now how I expected that psychological 500 area to be taken out. We did that. That's where you got the pause, a little bit of a rally, and then settled near the lows of the day. So we hit our psychological 500 area, and I've been anticipating that, all along the way to the downside. I know we're in this gap here on the monthly chart, which could provide the area where things just hold, but we'll find out. I also know that if it doesn't hold and we get a 2-down month, then we're getting our second monthly pullback, and all of a sudden that means, things can go a lot lower. And when I see this pivot machine gun on the weekly chart, that's a possibility too. You just can't predict it, but you go with wherever price action leads you. So anyway, very good day today in terms of just knowing you still had room to go to the downside, and opening price action just led you to a very nice trade. Now we're at a little bit of exhaustion risk, so we'll see if we get follow through to the downside, and if we do, how that unfolds. Wouldn't be surprised to see consolidation and tricky trading, and I would kind of watch the last 2 days of the week, how that seems to be forming relative to this weekly bar. And if this is going to close strongly red, then I would anticipate following through even lower into next week. So those are some of the items to be thinking about. Good day today trading, good day on Monday trading to the downside. So we're sticking with that bias, but we kind of know we're a little bit of exhaustion risk. So let's just see how opening price kind of leads us tomorrow, just the way it did today. And today was very clear to the downside. So we will you kind of watch how the last 2 days of the week go, and then kind of do a follow up on the weekend.